It's time now for business, and Sandra Fenu has joined me. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, Israel. A lot to talk about. Media
Okay.
review and supplementary budget.
And the fuel price thing.
Of course, it's a big issue.
Yeah.
But, you know, the good news is that you're not going to pay more because there's no increment in prices.
All right. You bring us the details then.
All right. Hello, good evening. My name is Sandra and I'm here for business. Some major oil marketing companies have kept prices unchanged at the pumps. At least for now, prices were expected to increase this week in line with the deregulation policy. George Rafe has been assessing rationale behind keeping the fuel prices unchanged.
Based on industry data and our calculations, prices of some petroleum products should have gone up by as much as 3% this week. This should mean that a litre of petrol would now be sold at 5 Ghana cedis, 36 pesos, translating into 24 Ghana cedis, 12 pesos per gallon. Diesel, on the other hand, should be sold at 5 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos per litre, translating into 23 Ghana cedis, 62 pesos per gallon. However, our checks with some of these major oil marketing companies that should have adjusted their prices on Tuesday this week say they might need a little bit time before the review is done. Others have told us that they are watching the market before they react. Some analysts have told Joy Business that some of these big players are just looking out for who will take the lead before they react. It would be interesting if these major oil marketing companies indeed go ahead and review their prices, especially when earlier this month prices should have gone down, but they failed to do that. The oil firms in the past have argued that the current application of the stabilization levy is really affecting their profits, a development that could impact on this price review. There are currently over 100 oil marketing companies in the country, and under the deregulation policy, prices are supposed to be reviewed every 2 weeks.
The executive secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is Duncan Amwa. He joins me via the phone lines for more discussion on this development. Good evening, sir. Certainly some good news there, Duncan, but mind you, prices were expected to go down by some 3% weeks ago, but that did not happen. Now, there are some turbulent issues also in the Gulf region, so one would expect that prices should actually go up. Are you seeing the deregulation of petroleum downstream sector really playing here?
Let me say good evening to you, good evening to your viewers. Hello.
Hi, Duncan, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening to your viewers. Clearly, just as you mentioned, prices of petroleum products should have gone down. The last pricing window, which was the 1st to the 15th of July, by some 2 to 3%. Unfortunately, the NPA had to reintroduce the stabilization and recovery levy, which saw prices rather go down by some 6 pesos. That was about some 0.4%, the window that just ended. Expectedly, the disturbances in the Gulf region have seen some products or petroleum products also gone up over the past 2 weeks window. And so prices naturally should have reflected an upward trend at the pump. But as I speak with you, a lot of the OMCs that we've interacted with are quite certain that they will maintain prices for Ghanaians. That notwithstanding, the month of August probably might see some increases if the tension on the Strait of Hormuz continues. If you saw in the news today, another oil tanker has actually been seized. And the sort of tension that is rising, it can only mean one thing, that global fuel prices probably would go up a little more than it did in the first window, July. And so for this window, yes, prices are not likely to go up as most OMCs have possibly decided to save prices. But again, we have also requested that if the government could do away immediately with the stabilization levy, we are quite certain that prices could have come down a little bit so as to accommodate any shocks that may come from the tension in the Gulf region as we speak.
All right, so you spoke about the activation of the stabilization levy. The minister actually requested that it should be activated. So we expect that prices should go up. Are you surprised that it's rather going down?
Yes. I think that the OMCs are being very fair with all of us, Ghanaians. These are some of the times that we are tempted to shower a bit of praises on them, because clearly benchmark values have gone up. If you check flat prices over the past fortnight, you would realize that there's been some increases, 2 and 3% thereabout. But it looks as though most of them are rather shelving these increases, which means that it will enter into their margins. If the government is magnanimous to do away with the stabilization and recovery levy, I'm quite certain that even for the month of August, we could still have stable fuel prices across pumps. But as it is, the OMCs are actually shelving whatever increases that we should have seen 3 days ago when the second pricing window for July commenced. Clearly, some are actually going into their own margins now to cushion all of us.
All right, quickly before you go, you mentioned that we should expect some issues, a change in the coming days. But what margin are you expecting us to go?
We will not be surprised if the first window, August, sees you and I paying some 2-3% more at the pumps than we are paying currently, because, like I indicated, there's a lot of instability in the Gulf region. Mind you, the Gulf region alone accounts for over 50% of global supplies. And this Strait of Hormuz, where the trouble or tensions are brewing currently between the United States and Iran, clearly, if it doesn't stop today, tomorrow, you and I can only see an eventual outcome in August where fuel prices would most likely do some 2-3% upward, if not even 5%.
I'm quite
certain that if things do not change, probably August will come with some fuel price increases, as the OMCs cannot shelve the increases that we are seeing even today on flat any further.
Thank you very much, Duncan. We have to leave it here. Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumer. To other stories now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has again revised the date expected to present the mid-year budget review to Parliament. Joy Business is learning that Mr. Ofori-Atta is not likely to do the presentation on July 22 instead of the initial July 24 date. The chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah, has told Joy Business the date has to be reviewed for the second time because some developments in Parliament will make it difficult for the Finance Minister to appear before the House.
That will be stated tomorrow. Why? Because earlier we got indication that it will be 24th. So if it's coming to what, 22nd, then we have to be told why. But that's the indication around here that the mid-year review will be presented on Monday. Yeah.
But still on the energy sector issues, I mean, from the indication that you've got in there, are you satisfied with whatever that is being done to try and deal with the
What
issues?
Ghana Gas said is that now there's an understanding between the Ministry of Finance and PDS to make payments directly to Ghana Gas without going through ECG and rest. But, you know, it's a matter of the revenues that are coming in. If the revenues are little, then that's what is being shared amongst everybody. So making direct payments to, if you saw the numbers, VRA owes Ghana Gas in excess of what, $600 million or so. Ghana Gas also owes the GNPC, and Ghana Gas is saying that they are also owed by ECG, and ECG is saying that you and I, we are not paying our bills. So you see, so everybody is shifting blame, but ultimately our consumers paying the right utility tariffs that for the energy they enjoy. So these are questions that we have to face up. It happened with deregulation of the petroleum sector. You would recall that there were times past when we subsidized heavily petroleum. Then it got to a point that the whole sector was deregulated and we paid realistic rates which were adjusted every 2 weeks. The question to ask is, are we paying realistic tariffs for the electricity and water that we consume?
There has been some rigidity in the system in terms of the flow of funds and all that.
Payments to statutory funds. Those are the ones that I know about. So if the government satisfies its obligations to say the common fund, get fund, and all these GMPC, the allocations of oil revenue, are they getting it? Not arrears owed to contractors and some other suppliers to government. That's a different matter. But ultimately, if funds move around, everybody's happy. So, yeah, I want to see government clearing arrears. Then contractors are happy. Nobody's holding anybody hostage.
So we're also learning that due to the decision to move the budget review to Monday, Bank of Ghana's monetary policy meeting is also rescheduled to be announced on Monday, and that meeting will be announcing the policy rate on Friday. So that's all for business for now, but when I come back, we'll be having a conversation on this. The FaceUp is what we'll be discussing in the second half of business. Hello, welcome back. You're still watching Joy News Prime. My name is Sandra and I'm back with the second half of business. Now, this could be me in 40 years. Call it Grandma Sandri at 80. I know, just in case I have a problem with my sight, this is how I look. Interesting feature. Now, this is the latest app driving the world crazy, known as FaceUp. This application is said to be the single most popular app in recent time. As fun as it may be, experts are raising security concerns. The question then is, are FaceUp users at risk? And are they willingly giving out their personal data by using this app? Joining me in the studio for more discussion on this is Clenam Fiajo, a technology entrepreneur. Clenam, great to have you. Have you tried the app yet?
I haven't. But I installed it and then checked a few things.
It looks really interesting and a lot of people are having fun. But I have seen a lot of applications that look exactly like what the FaceUp is, where people want to know which celebrity they look like when you die and all that. What makes this application so scary that even the US Congress is asking for a probe into the activities?
It boils down to privacy and user privacy, for that matter. And I've seen people say that, okay, so we're already using Facebook, we're already using Instagram, so why is FaceUp so different? But the point is, it is all the same, one and the same. It's about your privacy. But I think the reason why FaceUp is drawing a lot of attention is because it's based, well, the company is based in Russia, even though they've come out to say that, well, the data is not going into Russia.
Why is Russia becoming the bad boy in the hacking business? That's one question we want to.
Well, coming from Cambridge Analytica, even before then, I mean, time passed. They've always been in the news for, I mean, data breaches, data concerns, and all of that kind of thing. So that is why people are very concerned. Even the US, particularly, is very concerned about data going into Russia because their laws are not as stringent as US laws, and for that matter, for everybody else. So that is why the concern is higher now for FaceUp. But actually, all the social media platforms that we use have these privacy terms that give you unrevocable access to your information. So as much as you don't want anybody to have information, don't share it on social media.
Interesting. You saw my look 80 years from now. I still have my swag on though.
Yeah,
but you know, I didn't do that myself. I was there and a friend actually sent it to me. And so personally, I wasn't the one who actually did that. So am I at risk? Is my data at risk, or is the one who did it?
Yes, you are at risk. The point is, as much as you have friends and friends have your pictures and all of that, I mean, your information is what is going out. For instance, if I shared information of your picture on my social media platform, and probably somebody who does online fraud gets access to that information, the person probably is going to use your picture to do that, you know, that bad thing online. And that is your picture. So, of course, it is your privacy that has been infringed on, but this time not by the social media network, but by your friend.
Okay, so we have on the screens now the terms and conditions for using this application. Reading this and what you've seen out there, do you think that if people really read what is out there, they would have signed on to this application?
I think that a lot of privacy terms and conditions and all of that have too much, I mean, big English, which a lot of people probably don't understand or need legal attention before they can understand what it says. So I think that even though it is written, people read it, even if they do at all, read it with, with spite. Oh, well, I mean, I don't care much. Let me just use it. But I think that if people really read terms and conditions and privacy policies, some of the apps or the softwares that we use, we probably will not use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a wireless lab, wireless lab, they are the developers of this app.
Yeah.
They've actually said that, okay, when the security issues came, they were saying that, okay, after 48 hours, we delete your picture. Is that enough security?
To be honest with you, nothing on the internet, if they tell you is deleted, nothing on the internet is ever deleted. What they do actually is they cut your access to your own information. So if you say, okay, I've uploaded a picture on Facebook, okay, I'm deleting it. They actually don't delete it. Well, now because of the GDPR ruling and everything for the European countries, they are required to delete it. But before then, and even after then, some companies will not necessarily delete it. So deleting it, well, I find it hard to believe, but of course, well, they say they delete it.
Well, this has become really, of course, many people are having fun. I think we have some shots in there of a lot of people who have tried the app. If my director can put it on air so that we can see. But so back to data protection, how much are we giving as individuals on social media? Because I spoke earlier about apps that have come up and all that. And how do we protect our individual data?
For online and social media platforms and businesses, what I'll say is if you think you don't want this picture out, don't share it on social media. And so because if immediately you share it, it's not yours anymore. If you share a picture on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, that image or that resource is no more yours alone. They own it with you. And they have, per their privacy policy, they can share it, they can make money off it without any recourse to you or without reporting back to you. So that is the concern. And the reason why, people go on and, grant access to all photos on their phones without consent, and it's a very huge concern, is because one, people scan their credit cards back and front, and then they go online they give access to apps to do anything with your phone. But you actually have very important information on there. So it's a lot of concern when people say, oh, it's just my pictures. But actually, there are a lot. It's more than just your pictures.
We are told that it's the single most popular app now. Everybody's using it. I've seen celebrities worldwide using it. How much do you think Wireless Lab is making from this? Making a lot of money, I guess.
Well, it's a free app. Okay. And they are not running ads. Since when I downloaded, I didn't see ads in it, so I don't think they are making that much money. What they are doing probably is selling the content, and that is a problem. And any app that is free, you are the commodity. The user is the commodity. So if an app comes and says, okay, we are free, you just download and use it, you are the commodity. The reason why Snapchat is very big on advertising is because their app is free, you are using it, and they're advertising to you. So now you are the product, not you paying for it. You are the product.
Quite interesting. Well, now you know what to do. You have to protect your personal data. Claire Namfiajo is a technology entrepreneur. We are grateful for your time now. And to the commodity market now, crude oil sold for $61.84 a barrel after dropping almost $2 from yesterday's trading price. Gold went for $1,427.63. And now the commodity market news is next. Us to the end of Business News Tonight with me, Sandra Esinamap. And you can get more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Have a great evening.